Welcome back to the footboxx channel. Today, just want to talk about the England squad announcement for the up-and-coming international fixtures away with the Czech Republic and in Bulgaria. So, looking through the England squad that has been announced today by Gareth Southgate, there is a few new faces and a few old faces that aren't in the squad. So, we're just going to go through it section at a time, starting off with the goalkeepers. They really pick themselves these days. There is some younger English players in goal getting some games at different clubs these days, but Tom Heaton, Nick Pope and Jordan Pickford are the three that seem to have really embedded themselves in that England goalkeeping core. Jack Butland obviously playing in the Championship. He's been told he's not going to get considered and he's been in terrible form. And there are some younger keepers, I think, in the months to come that could be pushing for the fringe position. Although he's a little bit out of form at the moment, I think Jordan Pickford stays at number one for England in between the sticks. Onto the defenders then. So the omission of Kyle Walker in the last squad is repeated again by Gareth Southgate. The question now is it the end of his international career? Southgate used him as a centre-half at the World Cup, and then he rotated him with Trippier last season, and it seems that he is fallen out of favour with Southgate at the moment. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Kieran Trippier, obviously moving to Atletico Madrid, seem to be Southgate's choices at right back. The question really there now is Trippier the first choice or is Trent the first choice? Trippier played well against Bulgaria at Wembley, a poor Bulgaria side, and I thought personally Trent had a very poor game against a decent Kosovo outfit that caused him troubles defensively, and he done things in an England shirt that he definitely wouldn't get away with in a Liverpool shirt, and that intensity and desire to close down the ball and get back defensively just wasn't there. So it'd be interesting to see if Southgate goes with at right back, and the same at left back really. He rotated the left backs in the last two internationals, and again Chilwell, his final ball against Kosovo I thought was poor. Defensively, questions were asked of him, and he come up short at times. He hasn't got many caps, and he's been rotated with Danny Rose before. Can I see Southgate rotating them again in this set of international fixtures? Potentially. But again, who is the first choice at right back, left back, and who partners Harry Maguire? So Tomori has been called up from Chelsea. First season in the Premier League with Chelsea. Playing some games now, given the fact that Lampard has invested in the youth, predominantly to do with the transfer embargo, but they're playing different style of football with a lot of youngsters, and Tomori has shone in recent games, and he's earned a call up to the England squad. I think it was inevitable. Southgate does seem to go for the top six when they start playing the young English players. He does seem to gravitate towards them. Obviously, he has played in similar youth teams with some of the Chelsea boys in this squad as well, so there's that continuity between that Chelsea link across the defence, midfield and forwards as well, which we'll go on to in a second. But who partners Harry Maguire? So Michael Keane, Joe Gomez and Tyrone Mings gets a second call, who didn't play last time out, but will this be his chance to shine? Personally, I think, although he's not playing a lot of football, Gomez may get back into the first 11, but again, now when you look at this England defence, for me, Harry Maguire is the only player that picks himself, and he's the only dead cert to start. And the questions remain going into the Euros next year. I still think the right back, left back and second centre-half positions are well up for grabs. And those, including Tomori, Mings and Gomez, have really got to cement themselves into these positions given the chance now. So on to the midfielders. Biggest omissions you can see again. Dele Alli, he's only just come back, but he's not really been playing very well. He doesn't look particularly sharp. He's been omitted. Jesse Lingard and Oxlade-Chamberlain falls back out of the squad from the last time where he played a little bit of the game against Bulgaria. He has actually fallen back out of the squad. Again, he's not playing a lot of minutes for Liverpool. He's more of a substitution, with Lallana coming back for Liverpool. He's getting even less minutes. So he's been omitted, which I personally don't have any problems with. Dele Alli and Lingard both omitted. Yeah, on form. Fantastic. Not really got too many issues with that. However, when you look at the fact that he's chosen Rice, Winks and Delph in this squad, maybe there was room to give Lingard or Dele Alli a place, just to add something a little bit different, because Rice, Winks and Delph offer a lot of defensive capabilities. Personally, Harry Winks is very, very hit and miss. Against Bayern Munich the other night, I thought he was poor. Declan Rice against Kosovo for England didn't play particularly well. Fabian Delph, when he has played for England, I think he's done all right, to be honest. He's coming back off of injury and starting his Everton career, so he's back in the squad. I think he's one of Southgate's go-to man. He's a bit of a utility player, haven't been able to play at left back as well. So the midfielders, Barkley, Henderson, Mount, Rice, Winks, Delph and James Maddison, who hopefully, from a personal point of view, I'm a big fan of Maddison, hopefully gets a chance to actually get some minutes under his belt. It was disappointing at the Kosovo game to see Mount come on again when I thought that game was getting away from us a bit in the second half, and someone like Maddison who just, give him a chance, get him on the ball and get him to make things happen when it's starting to lose a bit of possession, a little bit of sloppiness there. Get him on the ball and hopefully gets a chance now. These two games on paper are winnable, and we get a good result in Prague on the Friday night. There's no reason for me why Maddison can't start in Sofia the following game. So it would be nice to see James Maddison get his chance and start one of the games, if not half an hour off the back of one of the games if we're in a winning position. So it's good to see him get a chance, and it is good to see Mason Mount in there again, who had some minutes last time. And I do think these two will continually be in the England teams going forward. Speaking of forwards that have chosen then, so Callum Wilson, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Tammy Abraham, Jadon Sancho and Raheem Sterling. The front three for me now pick themselves. Devastating in the first half against Kosovo. Harry Kane, Sancho on the right, or the left, and Raheem Sterling on the left or the right, depending on which way Southgate decides to set up. But we saw they can interchange, they can drift in and out of each other's positions. Sometimes you'll see Sterling go down the middle and Kane drift out. Sometimes you'll see Sterling switch with Sancho on the left and the right respectively. They were devastating against Kosovo, 5 goals in the first half. That picks themselves. Rashford maybe will get the nod in one of the games over Sancho, but I think Sancho, if he can find the freedom that he can play with at Dortmund, I watched him last night against Slavia Prague, and the freedom that he plays with in that Dortmund shirt, if he can get that in the England shirt that we're starting to see with Raheem Sterling, he could really be an effective player from the get-go. And I see Rashford being more of a come off the bench and being a bit more direct, as he was in the second half against Bulgaria. I know he played the full 90 that game, but when he is direct and he runs at defenders, he can cause a lot of problems. But I think in this squad you'll see Sancho, Kane and Sterling start, with Rashford being the man off the bench, along with Callum Wilson, and Tammy Abraham gets his called up. So if he does feature and gets any minutes in either one of these games, that will negate the fact that he is eligible for Nigeria, because he will then have played in a competitive international for England and pledged his future to England. So hopefully Tammy Abraham does do that, because I think he is developing into a good striker, and he will only get better given the minutes he's getting at Chelsea at the top of the football echelons in the Premier League. And he started well, I think 7 goals. Scored again last night in the Champions League away at Lille. So going forward, Tammy Abrahams is a different option to Harry Kane. If Harry Kane stays fit, yes, he starts the Euros. He's the captain, of course. When you're chasing a game, Tammy Abrahams is a different option. Callum Wilson, different option. Wilson, for me, still deserves another chance in an England shirt. He's going to be limited with that front three, and Rashford and Abraham's kicking around. He hasn't scored many goals for Bournemouth this season. He didn't start particularly well, but in the recent month he's definitely earned his place back in the squad. He scored a few goals recently, so it's good to see that we do have a front 6 or front 3 and then a 3 behind them, 6 forwards there that are in amongst the goals, and you've got 2 wide men that are very, very capable of causing any defence in the world some problems. So look forward to the 2 games, the Czech Republic away and Bulgaria away. For me, England should have no problems with this at all. Nearer the time, I'll be doing a video to preview both games with predictions and lineups. But if you've listened to this today, feel free to comment on who you think should be in the squad. I know there's a lot of you out there that listen to the FPL videos on this channel that have a vivid interest in the Premier League. Hopefully you take that into international football. Who do you think should have been omitted? Who do you think should have been included? Is there anyone that you can see coming through at last minute as we go into the winter and the spring to earn their berth in that European Championship squad for next summer? Please like, share, comment and subscribe. But thank you very much for listening.